Waiting till everyone's in. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Pownell Conservation Commission meeting. It is February 13th, 2024 at 7 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And we're going to do a board member's roll call. We'll start with Megan. Megan, sorry.
My name is Megan Randall.
My name is Kate Cooper. Jeannie Alexander.
William Cottrell.
Okay, so the first,
Nate was.
sorry, Nathan, go ahead.
Nathan Fowle.
Sorry about that. I forgot you. I can't see you on the screen. I can only see you on my computer, so it makes it tricky. I apologize.
No worries.
So our first thing to do is a board restructure. So what that means is we need to, well, there are two things that we need to happen. We need to figure out who we want your board chair, your vice chair, and your secretary to be, but you also need to decide on how you want to do the terms. So the select board has stated that they would like 3 3-year terms, 2 1-year terms. So that's kind of up to you guys to decide how you want to do that. And as far as the 3-year terms, they should expire, 1 next year, 1 the following year, and then 2027 would be the third.
Why,
So they don't all expire in the same year and the.
why are they so short? Do you have any idea?
Just for the first term, because otherwise you'd all be expiring 2027.
It's still for years,
Yeah,
but they will expire every year. And correct, and at the end of the 3 years, then you would be reappointed or not.
right. I mean, if you were the person who expired in 2025, you would just submit a letter saying you're still interested in serving. And then you would be another 3 years after that.
And then 2 1-year terms.
Yes.
I'll do it 1 year. If that, unless anybody else.
Does anybody else have?
I'm happy to do a 3-year, just because it coincides with my conservation district work, I think. And the two seem to dovetail, so unless there's an objection to that.
I'm happy to do a 3-year.
What's left? 2-year?
There's a 3-year and a 1-year.
Oh,
Nathan, yeah.
Do you have a
Yeah.
preference?
I'm honestly, I'm happy with either. I mean, I'll re-up if I do a 1 year, so I'm fine with that. If
Okay.
anyone wants to do a 3.
do a 3-year.
Okay. Great. And then as far as Jeannie, Catherine and Megan, how do you want to do the expiration?
I don't have a preference.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And so.
Okay.
I'll be happy to expire first if you want.
I'll go second.
Third.
Okay. I just admitted Margaret, so I'll give her just a second. And Margaret as our alternate. So we have 1 alternate for the Conservation Commission.
Great.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi.
Glad you were able to join us. We're just doing, I'm only here while the board sort of structures themselves, and then I'm gonna remove myself. So that's sort of what we're in the middle of. So what's everyone thinking as far as roles?
Oh, rules.
Roles, no,
Roles.
roles first, yep.
4.
We need a board chair, a vice chair, and then a secretary.
Uh,
And normally, one of you would nominate somebody?
Right.
Can we do that now? Or- Yeah, I nominate Kate Cooper for chair.
Are you
I
okay?
second that nomination.
Okay, I accept.
Is there any discussion? All in favor of Kate Cooper as board chair?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
And actually, when we have members on Zoom, we should say our names with it when we're
Okay.
voting. So if we could start over, all in favor?
William, I.
Jeannie, aye.
Kate, I.
Megan, aye.
Nate, I.
Margaret,
Okay. Thank you all. About vice chair, well, do you want to take over, Catherine?
Oh, boy. Does anyone have an interest in being the vice chair?
Really?
Would be the only thing I would have.
You do?
Yeah, not secretary though.
Okay, so before we vote on that, does anyone have an interest in being the secretary? Or is there any overlap in interest?
I'm happy to volunteer to be the secretary if no one else wants to do it.
Okay, so Jeannie Alexander, let's take a vote. Okay, I'm gonna bring up my Roberts rules here. Do I have a motion to accept Jeannie Alexander as vice chair?
I move to accept Jeannie Alexander as vice chair.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in
Please.
favor? All in favor, say aye.
Are we gonna go around with our names
Yeah.
again? Megan, I.
Kate, aye.
William, I.
Jeannie, aye.
Nate, I.
Margaret, aye.
Okay, great. So we have a vice chair, Jeannie Alexander. Do we have a motion to accept Nathan Fowle as our secretary?
So moved.
That's Megan.
Megan.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. William.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
William, I.
Jeannie, aye.
Kate, aye.
Megan, I. Oh, there's Nate. We can see you.
Nate, aye.
See, maybe I don't know, but
No, we can't see Margaret anymore.
Zoom is a really fun thing. It also starts select board meetings too. I apologize. What is that?
Right, Margaret, did we get your aye for that?
Margaret, I, yes.
Right. Right,
I don't know if as an alternate I get to vote or not.
I was
So-
actually about to ask that question. I don't
I
think
think I
so.
get to vote if somebody is absent. So but Nate is here on Zoom, so.
Oh, can we get even further clarification? Does Margaret vote if someone is absent, or does Margaret, is our alternate here to take the place of someone if someone is unable to fulfill their commitment or their term?
I believe it is when someone is absent.
Okay.
And then if she wanted to, if someone was unable to fulfill their terms, she
Got it.
could step into that role.
Thank you.
But I will double check. where-
okay.
That's how it is in the planning commission. I don't know if all commissions are the same or.
Okay, that should be an item that we clarify next meeting.
Mhm.
All right. So I guess we're approving, our next item here is number 4. It looks like we're going to approve today's agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
William, I.
Jeannie, aye.
Kate, aye.
Megan, I.
Nate, I.
All right. Great, let's do introductions. I'll start. My name is Kate Cooper. I moved to Pownell this year. I've lived in Vermont now for 8 years. I have a background in environmental science. I have a master's degree from Yale in environmental science, where I studied salt marshes and sea level rise in coastal regions. I also have a master's degree in sustainable landscape design, and I studied landscape architecture. So I'm really interested in the built landscape and excited to do that here in Pownell. Let's go. Jeannie, do you want to?
Sure, Jeannie Alexander, and I've lived here in Pownell and Vermont since June of last year, so still fairly new. I have a background in both law and theology, a JD from Cornell, and then a master's in religious studies as well. Have done policy work in and out of the state legislature in Tennessee for a number of years, and am currently also on the board for the Bennington County Conservation District. And then also a member of the VACD, so that's the statewide Association of Conservation Districts and the governance board there. I am extremely interested in resiliency, seeing even more regenerative farming in the Pownell area, sustainability and economic rural development. I think we have a lot of resources here for that.
Great.
Thank you. Let's see. Megan, why don't you go next?
My name is Megan Randall. I have a background as I have a master's in creative writing and I was a teacher, an English teacher for years. But all along with that, I've always been involved in amateur environmentalism. So I worked with a little group here in Pownell we started called Pownell Proud. And we've done a lot of cleanups and roadside cleanups and supporting the Green Up Day. So I'm interested in what Pownell looks like and how we can make it more appealing and sustain the environment the rural environment that we all love so much. So I think it's an absolutely gorgeous place and I want to improve on that out on Route 7 and 346 particularly.
Thank you. William.
William Cottrell, I'm a Pownell resident, born and raised here. I've recently been working with the town, highway department. And I also work here in the building, taking classes, environmental studies.
Yeah.
I'm also interested in basically conservation and education of the community, trying to work towards a better place to live, maybe, you know, getting out there and doing some recreation, and just creating really a great group of people. I think that would be great time to make do and get out and really interest other people, I think is a good.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Yes, like to see if we can get people more involved in environment. Getting
Thank
outside.
you. Nate, go ahead.
Nathan Fowle. My background is in music and art. I was born and raised in Pownell as well. And yeah, I have some sort of background in you know, outdoor recreation and outdoor education. Yeah, I'm just so honored to be a part of this group. You guys all have such amazing sort of experience that seems really relevant. I just want to be able to do whatever I can to kind of help support the work that you guys are doing and try and follow your lead as much as I can. I'd be really interested in learning how to do some grant writing. I have some experience with photography, so I don't know if there's a good way to help, you know, leverage that towards anything. And yeah, just a general interest in sort of Pownell's history and geography and like a lot of you said, really trying to improve access, right? Like I think there's so many amazing places in Pownell, but you have to know somebody who knows somebody to be able to figure out where these spots are and just trying to bring that all together in a way that we can show people how great of a town Pownell is and welcome them in to explore.
Thank you, Nate. Margaret, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Margaret Cody. I live up the road on North Pownell Road. I became more involved in the town over the last couple of years in leading the volunteer effort for the pollinator garden, which I hope comes to life in the next couple of months. My full-time role professionally is leading sustainability for a large financial services company. And that includes community engagement and taking care of our employees and our customers, but also a strong emphasis on climate and the responsibility of the company to step up to climate. But I'm obviously here just as an individual neighbor of everyone, but I do have a lot of kind of professional background in climate reporting, and then also kind of navigating the different trade-offs and decisions that sometimes need to be made when you have conversations of this nature. I have my MBA from Columbia Business School and don't bring any particular agenda to the commission other than to hear what the town would like to see the commission do and become. But I'm a big lover of Pownell and its resources and have appreciated getting closer to the work of the town through the garden, and was very excited to be able to serve as an alternate.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good group.
So we're moving on to item number 6 here, which is the rules of procedure. So Tara, can you give us some,
Yeah, so I put that on there so that you could discuss just in general, Robert's rules. And I have some cheat sheets if anyone feels like they need them. Or maybe just a little bit of talking about that, see how familiar everyone is with it.
has everyone here used Robert's rules before? It's, okay, yeah, I think that would be good just to refresh us all, especially on the finer points. Especially, I know I'd appreciate that running a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will send them all to you.
Oh, thanks.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, do we have yet another town email on Outlook?
I think you're gonna like me. So like-
Are we moving to number 7 here?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's
I
okay.
leap ahead.
Item number 7, Conservation Commission email. So, Tara, does that mean that we have an email set up?
Sorry. That was out of order.
I have given you your emails as well as everyone else's on the following page. So these are, oops, I think I moved your one. Sorry about that.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to say, when I give these to you, I just wanted to have a little bit of a conversation about email. And being aware that when you email other commission members, you should never, ever include more than one when you're emailing back and forth, because that violates open meeting law. So I will, or the board chair will send out agendas. It's never okay to reply to those emails, never ever hit reply all. I might send out a group email to every one of your emails. If you reply just to me, that is perfectly fine. Please do not reply to other board members, unless it is just one other board member.
So basically, this email is more or less for incoming from one person. I mean, we can't have any kind of oh, because it's not an open.
Can't have.
I got it. Okay.
Discussions have to happen in open meeting. If there's something you want the whole commission to have, feel free to email me and I can forward it to everyone. It's just not a back and forth, it's just a forward. So that's a forward.
It's just for sharing information.
It's just for sharing.
And it's public record.
Everything that you do in your email is public record, and that is why you have town email addresses. Please no longer use personal email addresses. That opens your entire personal email to public records requests. So that's why we have town emails.
And is there a reason that then it has to, I have to two town email?
I think I can set it up so that they all go into one, maybe.
Okay.
Are you checking it on your iPad?
Yeah.
Do you want to bring your iPad in and I can take a look at it?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And then I'll try to simplify it for you because I know now you have.
Things are a little better now with
Going on.
Idiom. I'm allowed to say that, but
You have better internet service.
Much better.
That's good.
better and cheaper too.
So I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to share about email. Is there any questions? Nathan and Margaret, I have emails for you, so I will send this info to your personal email. And then you'll have your login information for that.
So just to review what we just heard, if we have any email that is related to our work on the Conservation Commission, it should either go to you or it should be disseminated through this email address. And if we use our personal email address, that then becomes FOIA-able.
That's right.
So we should not do that.
Correct.
Great. All right, so I think we're at the heart of our meeting right now, which is item number 8, the Pownell Conservation Commission goals discussion. Sarah, before we embark on this, was there anything that the select board wanted to share as priorities?
So, other than what I gave you all when you came for your interviews, that is the only thing that they've sort of said to stay within those parameters. But this was more of like, for you all to be able to discuss what you see moving forward, or what you would like to see moving forward for goals.
Okay.
within that framework, I guess. is the
Yeah.
best way to put it.
So, I kind of intentionally didn't share any of my own thoughts yet about where we should go with things. I'd love to hear from other people. I have a lot of thoughts, but why don't we start with an open discussion about some major buckets that we think we want to start to work on here? Or
Sounded like when we went into the interviews that the select board were interested in the town forest.
Yeah.
It was a big,
Yep.
And the trail and, you know, if we see any role for us there.
Mhm.
Like, it sounds like they have most, the guy, I was asking about signage and access, access and so forth. I have, just so people know that it's there and how to get over there and so on. And it sounds like they have plans for that on the Recreation Committee?
I think we could get with them. Parks would definitely be good to get with them and kind of see if they have any ideas going forward.
I thought they had sort of a plan going for that. But and I'd also be interested in the upkeep, how that's going to happen. Again, getting back to my obsession with roadside litter and litter in the woods and illegal dumping and so on. I think we want to keep an eye on that.
May I ask
think
a
they
quick
do have-
question? Which is just, do we have a clear sense of the scope differentiation between the Conservation Commission and Parks and Rec?
Not on this issue, I don't think we do.
Not currently.
That's
There's some overlap too.
There's some overlap, yeah.
And Jennifer Boucher has already reached out, hoping to sort of do like a kickoff meeting and meet with everyone to sort of just get on
That'd
the
be
same
great.
page. So,
Great.
hopefully we can schedule that in the future.
That'd
near
be good.
future.
And that might be a good item for the next meeting, just
Yeah.
to see where, yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Great, so one item here that we have is the town forest, the trails. I'm interested in the status of the trails, like how
How far-
extensive are they? How have they been kept up? Do we have maps of that? If we do, who has them? Are they publicly available? Are they in a format that people
Yeah.
can read,
Yeah,
I'm not sure that any would be created yet, but
Yeah,
maybe working on creating some. I know some of so I don't think they're current hiking trails, more or less. I think it's just like logging trails,
logging trails, right? Yeah.
I believe.
There's no, to my knowledge, there's no signage at the access points
no.
yet.
I don't think, yeah, but they have I was asking Jennifer Boucher about it and they do have plans,
Oh,
so
good, okay.
or maybe it was Brian Harris, somebody like that.
One thing that I remember from sort of the info that the select board handed out was it sounded like they had kind of an outline of some of the things they wanted us to focus on. And one of the big ones on there was kind of about trying to sort of take an inventory of what resources
Yes,
are
yeah.
available to us. And I think that is a really good kind of
Yeah,
A current inventory of Pownell's natural and cultural resources
Mhm.
and historical, I guess, as well.
that's the inventory seems like it should respond to different interests. So like one thing that could be, that I'm personally interested in having an inventory of is the natural resources that provide us with essential ecosystem services. So, mapping wetlands, places that clean our water. It would be one example of that. I did ask during my interview, and some of you may have asked the same question, like, what do we have in terms of GIS maps? And it sounds like maybe there's been some digital mapping done already, but I'm not sure it's up to date. So,
I think dovetailing with that also is I'm very interested in forest mapping as well, understanding what we have here. So for example, this goes hand in hand with a very strong interest I have in again, more like agroforestry and sustainability along those lines. I think there are a lot of opportunities here economically as well. I think a lot of people leave Pownell who don't have to potentially. So I'm very interested, for example, in what our situation is with hickory nuts. Because hickory nut oil is something that, I mean, we've got a lot of those trees.
Oh, yeah.
It can be very sustainably harvested. And right now, the price for that per gallon is incredibly high. Hopefully that will come down as more people are accustomed to it. But we think about maple syrup, for example, and we should be thinking a lot about hickory nuts too, I think. So just sort of that resource mapping with trees as well.
That's a really good idea. We're likely to lose a lot of our sugar maples in the next 50 years.
Yeah.
So like thinking about what's next
Right.
is a great idea.
There was
One-
some discussion with the select board about wanting to do some logging on this new big piece of land. So I think sort of trying to make sure that we're involved in that to help sort of.
It's on his end.
Mhm.
Nathan, can you,
Yeah.
could you increase the volume on your end, please?
Absolutely, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Is that better?
A little,
Little.
Oh, I wonder, it may be my headphones. Let me go ahead and just unplug them. That's my fault. I'm sorry. How's
yeah.
that? Is that better?
Much better.
Much better. Okay, sorry. Yeah, the folks at the select board just mentioned logging, working on figuring out a way to log some of this new forest. And so just making sure that we're involved in that and trying to help sort of give them the information they need to do that in a way that's not going to, damage anything there, I think is important.
So one question I throw out there while we're having this discussion about like what types of work seem like their priorities is what problems we can help, maybe not necessarily solve, but provide information about so that they can be resolved. And that sparked for me the question of who are the stakeholders for our work. And, I'm hearing already that there are different stakeholders. There's, residents who might leave. There's like an economic piece to that. We talked about access. I think about children when I think about that. And a lot of the children in our area don't have equitable access to the outdoors that they can see, but maybe not get out to. There's the stakeholder of, the natural world. That's often considered a separate stakeholder in these discussions. It's not just humans, but the animals who live, the organisms who live here too. So maybe if it's okay with everybody, maybe we can throw that out. Like, are there specific, instead of thinking about activities, maybe we can start from a place of like, what kinds of problems could our work help contribute to solutions to?
Well, one thought also in terms of stakeholders is I wonder how much community awareness there is that the Conservation Commission has been rekindled, and whether there's a way of introducing the role of the commission to the community and kind of creating a listening mechanism to hear what people might have hopes for, to kind of broaden the broaden access to the commission and build some awareness and create a feedback loop.
Yeah, good
I think
idea.
another thing
Great
that could
idea.
be really interesting is it seems like many towns in Vermont have conservation commissions. It could be an interesting project to connect with some of the other chairs of those commissions and maybe hear some of their best practices, types of projects that they felt were successful to benefit from their recent work.
I think to go along with that also, I think that a lot of people aren't aware of the work that the Conservation District in Bennington County does. And we have 14 of those districts across the state. And I think a lot of our work could dovetail with that very naturally. And just like it would be, I think it's important to make residents here more aware that we exist and potentially our roles, but also the Conservation District and the ways that they can be a really significant help to people, particularly farmers who are looking for resiliency and sustainability and implementing methods that might be new to them. I think there's a lot of money, quite frankly, on the table, both state and federal money, to encourage that. And I just think a lot of people don't have access to it because they don't know about it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nathan.
Oh, no, sorry, that I was just, it was an affirmation.
I think maybe we could reach out to the other boards or commissions,
Yeah.
and kind of introduce ourselves and offer any assistance that.
Good idea.
I think this makes a lot of sense. I think, if the agenda item here is the commission goals, we have some ideas, I think, internally about what those might be, but it feels like the place to start right away is to just get into rooms with other people and talk to them. We could keep going with this, but I'm wondering if it would be a better use of our time to break out some tasks among people for outreach. And then the next meeting, I think we'd have a more informed discussion about where we could start.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jeannie, do you want to think about how the conservation district's work could overlap or inform what we do?
Yep.
I'm happy to reach out to some other commission chairs and see what kind of work they're up to. I could do that, by myself, or I could do that with someone else if someone else wants to jump in on that. Would someone here like?
I'm happy to back you up on that, Kate, if you.
Okay,
that would be
thank you,
valuable.
Margaret. Great. The other pieces I had here were creating a process for outreach to the community and education. So letting people on panel know we're here, here's what we do, here's why we exist, here's how you can reach us. Does somebody want to work on that?
I don't mind starting to work on that. I think I
Okay,
would like to kind of just create maybe like an outline and we can work on
Yeah.
it together officially.
next time.
Yeah.
I think,
Get some ideas together.
and maybe see how other people have, do they have?
Create an
websites?
identity.
Like what kind of information are they sharing? And then meeting we really need to meet with our peers in Pownell who are doing work, whether it's the parks and recreation or other parts of our municipal government. Yeah, so does somebody want to kind of reach out and see if we might schedule, we should sit down and talk. Tara, I don't know how that works with the public meeting format.
Yeah, so are you talking about like Parks and Rec?
To start, yeah.
Yeah, so we would warn it like
Okay.
a regular commission meeting, and just as long as it's posted at least 3 days ahead of time, the longer the better, because then it lets more people know.
Didn't we agree to have Jen Boucher come and speak to us?
We did. I thought in the beginning that she said that she was interested in doing that.
Yeah.
That would be helpful. Yes.
Okay,
Let's just do it.
okay, let's start there then, yeah.
I'm on the planning commission and there's a big emphasis on bringing industry back to Pownell. Not as much emphasis on conservation, but definitely the idea of rural development is they would be interested in that.
Okay, so I feel like that's another conversation we should have, and it's the Bennington County Regional Commission, I think, has been involved in some of this work.
Yeah.
So it feels like that's something that I can talk to my contacts there. But Megan, we should connect about that, maybe.
All right.
If we're thinking about development, the Conservation Commission should absolutely be at the table because any kind of development will impact our natural resources. And these are precisely the kinds of trade-offs that I think our work should inform. So. Nate, do you want to reach out? Do we have Jen Boucher on the calendar for our next meeting? Is that something we need to set up?
And invite her.
Okay.
And see if she can make it to the next meeting, and then
Great.
if not, what I'll do is I'll reach out to you and see if we can get something, a special meeting set up.
Okay,
And then
So-
we should be able-
Our next meeting would be in a month, right?
yes, yeah, second
Second Tuesday
Tuesday.
of
Nate, do you want to work with William on just thinking about how we could conduct some outreach to the community and share what it is that we do and maybe do some precedent studies, see how other towns have done this effectively or not so effectively?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
You know, what would be an interesting town to look at would be Arlington, because they've developed, did anyone see that in the banner? They've developed a very interesting way of assessing how much energy the town government is using and how much they're saving and so on. So I think that the previous Conservation Commission was into doing that. I don't know what came of.
That brings up kind
Yeah.
of an interesting question. Do we know much about the work of the commission when it was last meeting regularly and some of their achievements or anything like that to just understand maybe what documents, priorities, strategic plans? I don't know how long ago it was, but
Yeah, no, Tara seemed to be having a hard time finding anything on it.
I actually have not had a ton of time to look into it. I
Oh,
apologize.
okay,
I know there has to be records here in the safe,
somewhere.
previous minutes from the past conservation commission, so if one of you kind of wanna volunteer to look through those.
Sure.
That'd probably be a good task to take on.
We'll do that, Jeannie. Okay, and then Tara, do we have GIS maps? Like, do you know where they are if we do have mapping?
I do not know.
Okay.
So Mass Bill actually would probably be. a good-
For the next,
Yeah.
that was part of number 9. I
Oh, great, okay,
Yeah, I basically made a list of some links and some stuff that I
yeah.
Great, thank you.
get in the rust.
Good. So you'll get that to us through Tara, or?
Yeah, she'll forward it.
Thank you, good. That's great.
Okay, and to clarify, that's the kind of thing that Bill could put on the email and like share out, right?
Oh, I would have,
Or
I
you,
believe.
Yeah, I would just to be safe, just email it to me and
Okay.
I'll forward it. But things like scheduling. it's
Okay.
To respond with, but just to err on the
Okay,
side of caution, we'll just.
just so you don't get
sure.
wing nuts on your case.
I just want to clarify one thing. I assume that in the same way that it's okay for me to email one other Conservation Commission member, I could meet in person with one other member without running amok of any of these laws?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Not two,
Yeah.
only one.
Mhm.
What if we liked each other enough to have a party?
If you have a party, you can have, you can be at similar parties, you can have a party together, you cannot discuss conservation commission topics or any town business.
Mhm.
We would want to,
Very clear. Thank you. So I feel.
What else is there to talk about?
I think that with the assigned work that we all have, does anybody want a quick review of what you just
Yes.
signed up for? Okay, so Bill, you're gonna send the links to what you can find from past work and potential mapping to Tara, who will send that to us. Jeannie, you are going to see if you can dig up any information about the last Conservation Commission and what they did, as well as think about or connect with, how many employees does the Conservation District have?
So, I mean, there's a board and we're very active. And then
Yeah.
there's Michael, who is the director of it. So he's our primary employee right now. But I can definitely bring more information about how
Yeah.
to overlap. And I could also set up which I think could be really helpful, a presentation for us one night.
That would be great.
Like a 15, 20-minute presentation about ways in which the Conservation District also sees how we can overlap and provide opportunities.
Good.
And potentially resources too. I'm just
Absolutely,
wondering, like, what
resources.
money is out there?
No, I mean, I think we
Yeah.
definitely need to have a resource conversation and I think there are different kinds of development.
Okay. Nate and Bill, you're going to work on checking out how other conservation commissions have shared their mission and made themselves available to the public.
So Bill and me, did you say?
And Nate.
Nate.
Yeah.
And Nate, yep.
Yeah. Margaret, I'll start to look at what other commissions, conservation commissions, you know, around us might be good ones to contact. And Megan, you and I, you'll think about the planning commission and I'll connect with BCRC and we'll think about whether the work that they're talking about has any bearing on our work together. And Tara, you're going to have Jen come to our next meeting. Okay. And I think that's everything unless did I miss anything there? That feels like a good goals discussion and I think we can stop there.
Yep, agreed.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, helpful links and resources. I think we just covered that with the information that Bill will be finding. And Jeannie.
And if anybody else is willing to,
Mhm.
if they have any links or anything that they feel would be helpful for the group,
Okay.
we send them over.
We'll send them, maybe we should send them all to Tara as helpful links and resources. And then before the next meeting, maybe I can compile them and either share them out ahead of time, ideally, or bring them.
So could I also, just thinking about links and resources, back to Conservation District, there is a survey that's up right now on our website for that, really asking for public input. And so I'm wondering if that's something I could send that link to you. I don't know if there's some way to help disseminate that information too through Pownell.
Definitely send it to me. How long is the survey open for?
I'll double check and I'll email you.
Okay, because I will get permission from the select board to put it on the website or on our Facebook.
Cool.
And I can try to share it
Okay,
through other avenues as well, but certainly send it to me,
okay,
because I'll take it.
definitely. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, does anyone have anything else to add about helpful links and resources before we move on to item 10?
Only I took a local training on kind of getting more involved in supporting towns. It was called Get On Board, and they had a lot of great resources on, you know, ways to engage the community and kind of build success from the beginning with kind of a new effort. So I can share anything of value via Tara to inform Bill and Nate's work or the work of the commission more broadly.
Great, thank you. All right, item number 10, future business. Does anyone have any thoughts about that? I feel like what we just talked about was primarily future business and that's duplicative.
Yeah.
Does anyone disagree?
Just one question. In terms of just sending some notes around on what we discussed, is that something that should also go through you, Tara, before it hits everybody else, or is that?
Are you talking about minutes, like the minutes from the meeting?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I assumed as secretary, I'd be responsible for sort of keeping track of something. I mean, I'm sort of learning on the fly here, but I took a bunch of notes that I'd love to share. So, yeah, just whatever the proper procedure for that is.
Yeah, so minutes for the meeting will need to be done within 5 business days from
Okay.
the week. I can certainly help you with that the first few times.
Okay.
What I will do is send you the video and our sort of format for keeping minutes, and then hopefully we can figure that out. Then
Okay.
I'm look into how that gets disseminated to the other board members. I just want to double check to make sure we're not violating open meeting law. You're either gonna have to send it to me and I'll send it out to them, or it may be okay in that instance to share it. Because then what will happen is at the next regular meeting, you'll then approve the minutes from the previous meeting,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So obviously, the rest of the commission will need to read them to be able to approve
Right.
them. So let me just double check on that.
Okay.
And I will let you know.
Okay.
I apologize.
Thank you.
I don't answer.
It might be worth sharing some of the resources on how to create effective minutes beyond just Nate in case there's a meeting Nate can't attend.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good
I'll
idea.
try
I
and-
mean,
Yeah, educate myself on all that stuff ASAP.
Tara, at a minimum, the secretary has to record every motion,
Yes.
right? That's like the baseline.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's basically a summary. The way that we do select board minutes is like bullet points. So the agenda item is listed on one side and then you just kind of bullet point what everybody mentioned. And yes, motion should be quoted.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll include all of that with the minutes and I'll send that to everybody.
In my experience, my recent experience on the planning commission, there's times when the minutes are much more extensive than other times.
And recently, I think there's been some criticism of minutes,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
you know, as a commission, you can decide how detailed you want them.
yeah, I think
And it's-
less is
everything
better.
recorded.
I agree.
Everything is recorded to refer back to as well.
Yeah, so as long as we have the motions and the basic gist of things, I think that's plenty.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. The last piece here before we adjourn is public comment. Do we have anyone who would like to make public comment right now?
Not seeing any hands up. Is there anyone that wants to make a public comment? Please raise your
I'm
hand.
sorry,
State your
if I could
name.
just, Jim Kosis, and unfortunately I can't bring up, I've got this new program, I can't bring up the hand, but if you'd give me a minute, I would love to have a public comment.
Go ahead, Jim.
All right, thank you very much. First of all, I really appreciate you guys stepping forward for this commission. From what I can understand, I'm very impressed with the leadership and the outcome of you guys speaking up. First of all, I have two things. The last one I'm gonna just bring up is, I didn't like the comment of less is better. I think one thing that has to happen in our minutes is that anything that is spoken about needs to be documented in the minutes. We cannot rely on the videos or the Zoom to document anything. So if Nathan can make sure that the minutes do incorporate a full description of kind of what what you guys are discussing, it would be much better, because if there is a question of what came up and what was discussed, it's very important that we do have an understanding. The second thing is, I appreciate you guys working in cooperation with the Parks and
Rec.
whatever, because there are a lot of Parks and Rec. There are a lot of individuals in town that do not know where our areas are for hiking or riding motor vehicles, or the new forest that's up there. It really hasn't been publicized at all of what can happen up there. How do you access it? Yes, I give the select board a lot of credit that they've been able to have access to that area up there. And I just think working with them would be a very advantageous thing for the kids to really realize where they can go and not have them on our streets all the time. That there is some nice areas out there to kind of ride, or people that want to get off certain roads walking and go into the forest and enjoy the scenery and everything that's in there and just listen to nature. So I really appreciate the activity that might happen between you and the rec, and make this town a destination of just this quiet area that is welcoming. So good luck, and
Yes.
I look forward to you guys doing what you can do.
Jim,
Thank
real
you.
quick, could you just spell your last name for me if you'd like to have it in the record?
Oh, no problem. Kocis.
OCSIS. Got it. Thanks, Jim.
No, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I'd like to second what you said about making the town more welcoming in so many respects. So I think for people to know, there's so many sort of secret places in Pownell that are so special, like the quarry, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a fine line. You don't want too many people, but
Oh, if we can get more people coming in and we can get development and everything like that, it's very welcoming. There's the dome up there. I've heard very many discussions about the dome. People don't know about the dome. There's just so much in Pownell, but I don't think anyone has ever really publicized it in an area at either the schools or even in Front Porch Forum of where can you go in Pownell to just enjoy nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks.
Does anyone else want to make a public comment?
No one else has their hands up.
Okay, great. There is so much possibility here, so much to tackle. I think we'll have to hold off on all the great ideas I think are simmering till next time. But thank you all for being on this journey together. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second? Did you get that, Nate?
Megan and Jeannie?
Yes.
Yep, got it.
All in favor,
Well, I guess there are two.
all in favor, say aye.
William, I.
Jeannie, I.
Kate, aye.
Megan, I.
Nate, aye.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
What's the date of the next Tuesday?
Well.